Hello, Gary Champion, psychic medium and healer, once again with a little political commentary about the Thomases, Clarence Thomas, Ginny Thomas. They take money from everybody, and all of these things are finally coming out. The news people are putting pretty good about ferreting this stuff out. He's not talking about it. She's not talking about where she got that $100,000 someone just handed her. It's from the far right. Now, he's supposed to be a Supreme Court justice, but what does his wife do? What does she do? By the way, she's worth $80 million. $80 million. And you don't know where the money comes from because they say pay her this $25,000 and leave her name off the paperwork. Just give it to her. She's a lobbyist, a political activist. Interesting, huh? He's supposed to be impartial and fair, and she's a far right political activist who is the head of a group called WAPO. Oh, it's a weird name, isn't it? It's an activist group led by Ginny Thomas, and they have $600,000 in donating this year. The people have donated them. What's all this money for? It's to cover up and hide and pay people to say things they didn't and lie. And it's like saying Trump won the election. She was behind that. She was one that was saying that the election was stolen. That's just strange for a Supreme Court justice's wife. And he claims he doesn't know anything about it. Oh, no, we don't talk politics at home. What else is there to talk about? And these people are awash in money. They have money in so many banks they don't even know where it all is. And they use it to influence people, like Clarence Thomas, by buying his wife or giving her $100,000, or this guy, this Crow, Harlan Crow, paid for the tuition for Clarence's son $6,000 a month. He didn't report that. It's kind of a big gift from the far right. All the money's come from the far right to pay Ginny and Clarence to do what their bidding is. So she wants to influence everything. And then after she gets caught in the big lies, she says, "Oh, I didn't mean that." Political skullduggery, the other side is saying. Political skullduggery, stuff done in the dark when you could do it out in the light. She could have said, "People have given me this money." He could have said, the same Harlan Crow bought a house for my mother. But he didn't. Well, these are things, skullduggery is a word I heard from the other side. That didn't come out of me. Supreme Court's supposed to be a nonpartisan group. And right now they're under pressure to adopt a code of ethics. You think that's going to happen? They're running around. All these guys are getting money from someplace. I'm not saying the left is not doing it because I don't know anything about it. The right stuff's all over the newspaper, which I think we need to commend these people who ferret this stuff out. He's been lying for 30 years, taking money from people and didn't report a bit of it, and he's supposed to. Gifts are supposed to be reported. And when you get millions and millions, he takes vacations on Harlan Corbin's yacht and uses his airplanes, and looks like he works for him. Sorry, just heard that from the other side. Looks like he works for him. Well, yeah, Mr. Harlan, what would you like? You want me to vote this way or that way? Very interesting how our little world can change because someone decides to take money and gets influence and votes a certain vote that's conservative, uh, whatever you want to call it, everything on abortion rights to pollution. He can vote on anything. He can influence it. And his wife makes sure that she does. She got Donald Trump to kick somebody off of a committee because she said he was disloyal. Guess who they put in his place? Well, Clarence wasn't doing anything. He's supposed to be doing this Supreme Court thing, this little Supreme Court thing he's got going on. He got put on a committee because his wife influenced Donald Trump into saying so. A lot of money in this, Ginny. When you can buy a government, you don't have a government. It goes back in the last couple of years, me talking about oligarchs. It comes up in Russian talk all the time. The oligarchs are this and the oligarchs are that. And all an oligarch is a large group of people that influence the government with money and power. And we have lots of oligarchs. Anytime there's an oil deal going down, they got 50 lawyers in the room trying to stop it from happening. That's an oligarch. Rich individual people jump in and pay the money to influence things, to make the government run the way they want it to run, instead of the way it was intended to run, which is we the people, not oligarchs. And this part I heard just before I did this video. When you can buy a government, you don't have a government. I heard that. And then someone tacked on there is a different spirit. Tip of the iceberg. Isn't that interesting? Donald Trump will be sued into the ground long after he's dead. His relatives will be sued over things he did far into the future. They don't seem to mind. Skullduggery. Nixon's the only president to be impeached and pardoned. He was guilty of all the stuff that they said he was. He lied about it. Out come the tapes. Again, the news organization found all that, drug it out. Well, everybody that worked for him went to jail in one form or another, or were disgraced. It's a pattern. It's a disturbing pattern of trying to influence people that make the laws for this country, for everybody. Yes, that includes people who live here but are not residents or illegal, but they live here. They live here and work here and pay taxes here. They're here. So any decision that's made needs to include all people. We the people. Strongest part of us is that. And thank goodness for these news organizations. I've never been that fond of news people, but boy, the stuff just comes out of the woodwork. I mean, they didn't have to ask; it just popped up. There it was. How come you're worth? See, Clarence is worth $32 million, I think, 32 million. What has he done as a Supreme Court? They don't pay him that much money. I think it's under $300,000 a year. How did he save $32 million? That's $1 million a year since he's been there. How do you do that? When you basically put on a black robe and go into a room and vote, unless you're doing some skullduggery. Someone pays you a little money, buys your mother this, does that. Oh, next vote. Oh, I know which way I'm going to vote. It's that guy that gave me the yacht cruise and the airplanes and the cruises and the long vacations and he works for him. In effect, when you take money from someone like that, you in effect work for them. Saying you don't is a lie. He's been giving him money for a long time, and his votes have always been conservative. satisfying these people. So they keep paying you money. When you get paid that much money, we're not talking nickels and dimes here. We're not talking thousands of dollars. We're talking millions of dollars. When you get paid millions of dollars to do nothing, you in effect work for that person. Just my opinion there. And someone's saying, and look around at the court, how many of them are doing the same thing? They're not impartial. If you're paying somebody money and you have a point of view, I hate that abortion crap, we need to get rid of that, and you say it often enough, then you give a guy $1 million, ooh, I better vote on that. I want that next $1 million next year. Interesting, huh? It's supposed to be a nonpartisan court, Supreme Court. Once you get Supreme Court, it's law. You can't go any higher than that. So there's where everything stops, is right there. And they've been doing a really crappy job of it lately, if you've noticed. Women no longer have the right to an abortion. I'm not a woman. I come down on either side of that, but I want when someone restricts somebody, it's like bullying tactics. I don't care for it. And by the way, what do a bunch of old white men have to do with women's pregnancies? The government's in your bedroom. Why aren't the women outraged by it? Amazing to me. They've taken away food stamps and everything else they can restrict from them. And every woman, regardless of which side they're on, should be really angry. They've taken away a basic right you've had for 40 years. We'll just vote that away. Usually in the middle of the night. That vote will be held at 2:30 in the morning because they don't want their constituency to get out and line up with shotguns. When you can buy a government, you don't have a government. They've got a government. Who? The far-right oligarchs that want to control the country. And to a large extent do. To a large extent do. Kind of disgusting, isn't it? Makes me not happy to be an American right now. I'm sure it goes on all over the world in many countries and is really, really bad in others. But this is my turf. This is where I live. I don't want to see somebody not have a right because this guy paid this guy money. Should be some consequence for taking money as a government employee and not reporting it. Again, it's not $50 or here's some lunch money, Clarence. Run down and get you a ham sandwich. It's the kind you can buy land, and I'm sure they do on a lot of land and properties and airplanes and crap. They're worth $100 million together. You can do a lot with that. Set up your own government. Interesting. One more time. When you can buy a government, you don't have a government. And then someone said, tip of the iceberg. Don't forget to say that. So that's my political video for right now. But I suspect that we're going to see more of this, that they'll pick the next Supreme Court justice and pick apart their personal life and where their money is. And they're not used to that. They're used to being Supreme Court. El Supremo. But I suspect that we'll see this, and the wives will be included, and the children will be tainted, rightfully or wrongfully. A lot of people get painted with the same brush as the person that did it, and it's not fair. Sometimes it's totally fair. You've got to distinguish that. Sometimes the media doesn't. So, how long has this been going on? It just occurred to me. How much has been going on? It says Daniel Boone shot a buyer. Oh, yeah. People who paid money got the rights to everything. Fishing rights, water rights, lumber rights. Way before oil was important, lumber was important. And land. You could grow things. It's time to put a stop to it. And I don't care if the news people go off on them with both feet, jump on them. That's what they're doing right now as we're speaking. They're trying to find the next person who's accepted a lot of money and not reported it. Even those who have. Why did they need to give them $1 million or $100,000, which happened to Ginny lately? Somebody just gave her $100,000. She didn't report it. News people had to find it out. The media, who they hate. That's why they do skullduggery in a dark room in the middle of the night. They don't want anybody to know. I always manage to leak out, though. Why? Because people are outraged. Even if they're technically in their camp, they'll rat them out because it's not good for the country. These people should be rewarded. The only kind of news we get is like that. We have unbiased news too. We have Fox News that everything is a conspiracy, everything's a problem because it makes them money, not because they believe it. Now they just got stuck in a door. They've been sued for tons of money, $500 or $600 million for lying, basically. That's probably a drop in the bucket to what they made by doing it, which is why they don't particularly care. They just write a check for it and write it off and keep going. We're in trouble here, folks. I suspect we've always been in some kind of trouble and things went badly because somebody got paid under the table to say something and they did, and the country took a turn that it shouldn't have taken. The latest one, let's attack Iraq. Let's kill 500,000 Iraqis. And they didn't even bomb the Twin Towers. It was people from another country, which I won't mention, that did that. Yet we attacked Iraq. Whew. Because that's what they wanted. Why do you think they wanted it? Money. Because now we got to make more tanks and guns and airplanes, and so that they love that. What happens in Iraq should stay in Iraq. What happens in Iran should stay in Iran. We shouldn't be policing them. It's not our job. And it didn't turn out well. We had to kill 500,000 of them to kill the dictator, who they should have done themselves. But again, they allowed this to happen. Country gets the government it deserves. Is that why we've got this government that takes money under the table? $100 million worth? Maybe not that. Maybe $80 million worth. And make decisions that involve we the people. I don't think you cannot help but influence people when you pay them money, give them lavish vacations, pay the tuition for your kid, and buy a house from your mother. How can you not report that? Let's say there's nothing wrong with anything he did. It's a big stink coming off of that pile of mess. During Watergate, the were the two newspaper men. They were told by the guy in the garage freak, remember? Follow the money. Everything's connected to that. And it's electronic now, but you can't hide it. So I'm going to say government investigators who aren't doing anything but collecting their pay, follow the money. These big slush funds is what got them in trouble. This is a repeat of history. Large slush funds of anonymous donations, none of it can be traced. They're going to spend for political things. Money shouldn't be buying our country. Whenever you can buy your government, you don't have one. We've got something propped up there that's getting paid, but pretty ineffectual. This is political. I've been for a while, isn't it? I'm not a political person. Damn, come on. Thanks for watching. And this Sunday is a free readings day on in the chat room on my YouTube site. So I'll be there for that. Also, I want to reiterate there's a class I'm going to offer. I talked about it this morning. There's another one I'm interested in giving. Improve your intuition. It has like 100 parts to it. I've already written it. I just don't know if I want to teach it or not. But it's interesting how your intuition can kick in and work if you get out of the way. There's at least 75 questions there that will determine that. Very complex, huh? For me. But you do this, you do that, you do that, your intuition will improve. Because I'm saying the way we make choices is based on our conscious self, not our unconscious. And of course, our unconscious controls all that. Anyway, enough blah, blah, blah. Gotta get back to my writing. No fear, no regret, no anger. Thanks for watching.